even though we're way past November, the Michael Crichton book for November was The Lost World. So let's get to it. Hey, today we are talking about The Lost World by Michael Crichton, which is, of course, the sequel to Jurassic Park by Michael Crichton. It's the dinosaur story. These are some fantastic movies, very fun story, and unfortunately, that's about as far as it goes. The movie, you guys, The Lost World, the movie, it's a lot better. It's a lot better. I really did not enjoy this book very much. I'm sorry to say. But before we jump into that, this is the Michael Crichton read along. I am following along with Mike's book reviews channel here on YouTube. Really great channel that I like a lot. He has gotten stalled up a little bit. I'm actually a little ways ahead of him, even though I'm a month behind. This is supposed to be our read for November. Here I am in the middle of December. But anyway, if you want to see some actually like good reviews on Michael Crichton books, go check out Mike's book reviews, his channel over there. It's really good. So anyway, we're reading one Michael Crichton book per month, going in publication order for 18 months. And we are we're a little bit over halfway, I think. I think this is book number 10. So anyway, yeah, you guys, bottom line on this one, I don't know why I'm starting with the bottom line. Started right off the bat. Bottom line, this one was a bit of a slog. It took me a long time to finish this. It's part of the reason why I'm so far behind in this reread and this read along. Right from the get-go, things. Let me see if I can put my thoughts in order here. The characters were bizarre. Like they just behave weird. Like nobody behaves that way. Let's zoom in. Sort of I wouldn't call him the main character, but kind of the catalyst of the story is a guy named Levine. He's this paleontologist, researcher guy, scientist guy, and he has this theory that there could theoretically exist a lost world where dinosaurs have survived in isolation. So he's hunting all over the world, trying to find a place where these dinosaurs might exist. That's cool. But him as a person, he's one of those characters who's like really obnoxious and I'm so smart, I don't have to deal with you rubes. He's like Sheldon, but not funny. Sheldon Cooper from The Big Bang Theory. And Sheldon, sometimes isn't even funny. But like Levine is he's an a-hole to everybody. If you're not on the same wavelength with him, then you must be an idiot. So I don't know. He just got on my nerves. He's not a very nice character. But he meets up with Ian Malcolm, who is from the last book, right? Ian Malcolm was my favorite character from the last book, and in this book, he kind of drove me crazy. He's kind of being an idiot in this book. I don't know what his deal is. They go to this place called Site B, which was where InGen was producing these dinosaurs, right? And they would produce them in this lab, and they would run around on this island and kind of grow up, and then they would transport them into Jurassic Park. So that they didn't have to have all these laboratory operations on the actual island with the park. So there's a second island that we come to find out in this book. Throughout the entire story, even at the very end, Levine keeps talking about, oh, this is the lost world where dinosaurs have survived. Malcolm never tells him anything about like, oh yeah, these are from InGen. Like I've experienced these dinosaurs before. Like I've been around them. They haven't survived from the Triassic, Cretaceous, whatever period. Like they were made like 5 years ago. Malcolm never says that in the entire story. And it's like, okay, maybe he told Levine sometime off screen, but it's like, it's just really weird. Like Malcolm keeps talking about these things in the same sort of way that Levine talks about them. Like, oh yeah, dinosaurs survived this and that, and here's these, we're studying extinction and stuff. Malcolm willingly goes to the island, like excited to study these dinosaurs because he wants to learn more about extinction. The movie made a lot more sense. In the movie, Malcolm's girlfriend got lured onto the island to study the dinosaurs, and he goes there to rescue her because he knows how freaking horribly dangerous they are. But in the book, he's just like, yeah, let's go. Sounds fun. He's crippled from what happened in the first book, you guys. What? So anyway, that kind of drove me crazy. Ian Malcolm drove me crazy. Speaking of his girlfriend, Sarah Harding, they're not actually, I don't think they're actually dating in this story. They are former significant others, I guess. They used to kind of date. At least that's what some of the characters say. It's actually never really explicitly stated, I don't think. But anyway, Sarah Harding is a cool character. She's like this really really independent woman that doesn't let anybody tell her no kind of character, you know. Very strong female character, and she's pretty fun to watch, to read about. I don't know. I mean, she studies lions and hyenas and stuff like that in Africa, and so she's just like she's cool with studying these dinosaurs. And there's like a scene where she's chasing after a raptor on a motorcycle, and like she just does cool stuff, and she's a cool person. Then we get to there were a couple kids that end up on the island. Actually, in the movie, there's just the one kid, right? But actually, in the book, there's two. There's this girl Kelly and this boy Arby. While I like them, they are, they're interesting. It's, obviously, I don't know why Michael Crichton likes so much to like put kids on the islands or whatever. I guess it just makes the reader more invested, like, oh no, these kids are in danger, kind of thing. Right off the bat, the kids were getting on my nerves because they were just too smart. If you've read Ender's Game, you might kind of know what I'm talking about. Ender's Game, to me, and I guess to a lot of people from what I've heard, it's a little bit too unbelievable because the kids are just too smart. They're like 6-year-olds and they're super intelligent and just brilliant kids. But at least in Ender's Game, there's sort of an explanation for why. They're like, some of them are like genetically engineered, and they've been kind of focusing on this whole like intelligence thing, and they're trying to make smart kids to be in the military. This one, it's just like two random kids who are like insanely smart. Kelly's 13, Arby's 11, and they know all about like, crap, I can't think of like a good example. But like right at the beginning, they're talking about, like Kelly knows all these different theories for how the dinosaurs possibly went extinct, and she knows the flaws with each one of them, which is fine because a lot of kids are really interested in dinosaurs. So that's not a huge deal. But then like later, like Arby's messing around with the computer, and he knows all these different like programming terms, and like I don't know, it's just too much. And they have these conversations where like Arby is like recovering lost files off of this old InGen computer, and he's like hacking into the system and like doing all this stuff that like I don't know, maybe I'm just ignorant because I don't know anything about computers. You maybe can tell with how poorly my videos are edited, but I don't know, it was just really unbelievable. But then after they actually get onto the island, the kids, they're interesting to read about because their hyper intelligence isn't so like in your face. They're just there trying to help out and trying to survive these dinosaurs. So speaking of the dinosaurs, there were some weird things going on. Like there's certain dinosaurs from Jurassic Park that were not in this book, and there's certain dinosaurs that were not in Jurassic Park in the first book that are in this book, which doesn't really make sense with the story, which I thought was weird. And then, but mostly the dinosaurs were really cool to read about. I complained from the first book that the Tyrannosaurus Rex felt almost like a weird, clownish, slapstick thing that wasn't ever really dangerous. The T-Rex here is very dangerous. It kills some people. And that's when the story actually really starts getting good. Let's see, it's probably like around page 300 or so when people start dying. And that's when the story gets really good, which I have a problem with that because it's only 130 pages from the end, so that's why, I don't know, like it had a good ending. I did enjoy the ending, but it was a lot of boring stuff before you got to the good stuff, and a lot of very unbelievable things going on, like the way the people are behaving. Like, for example, if you've seen the movie, there's a scene where they're in this trailer. There's like two trailers linked, hooked up together, and the Tyrannosaurs Tyrannosaurs start to push the trailer off the cliff, and it's very intense. And that scene happens in the book, but only one trailer falls off the cliff and the other is still up, and they climb up and they get in the second trailer. The first trailer falls, and then they just hang out in the second trailer like multiple times throughout the rest of the book, and they're like, oh, we're safe now. This trailer is just right on the edge of the cliff, right in the Tyrannosaurus new territory. They talk about how like the reason the Tyrannosaurs pushed the trailer off the cliff is because they've now claimed this territory because we brought their baby here, so now they've established themselves. This is their territory. But then they just get in the second trailer, and like there's no problem with that. Like what? I don't know. And like the Raptors are a huge threat, except they behave almost like a mustache twirling villain. Like I don't know. The Raptors are portrayed as like hyper intelligent, but it's almost like they're bizarrely intelligent, and they're like I don't know. I don't know. It's just weird, man. It's just weird. Like the book was weird, so it was hard to suspend my disbelief. But like I said, once the dinosaurs start attacking people, it gets pretty interesting. Quick note: I almost forgot. The guy Dodgson. I don't know if you've seen the movie. He was in the first book, not too heavily. He's sort of a villain character. He's actually much more active in this book. He comes back. He's in that scene when they're at like the little cafe restaurant thing, and Newman from Seinfeld is like, Dodgson, we got Dodgson over here. He's the guy who like hired Nedry, Newman, the Newman character, hired him to steal the embryos, right? So Dodgson is this sort of evil guy from a different corporation. He's trying to steal InGen's work, and he comes to the island. He follows them to the island, and he's trying to steal dinosaur eggs. That doesn't go too well for him and his friends, because obviously when you steal a dinosaur's eggs, you kind of piss them off. So it was actually interesting to see Dodgson take a more active villainous role, and to see what happens to him and his associates when they do such a thing. So anyway, I'm trying to keep this review a little bit on the short side. That was The Lost World. Overall, to be honest, I really just didn't like it very much. The ending was fun, but getting there was a slog. But I'm glad I read it. It's fine. I've decided, in retrospect, I said in my Jurassic Park review that I wasn't a huge fan, but I was going to hold on to it just to have it in my collection. I've decided against that because I have a student of mine who's been asking me about this a lot. He's been seeing me read it, so I'm going to give this to him as a Christmas present because today's our last day of school before Christmas break, so that's fun. Hey, tune in next month. Actually, this month. I don't know. I'll do it as soon as I can because it's supposed to be our December read. Airframe by Michael Crichton. I'm excited for this one because I have absolutely no idea what it's about. So check it out. I'm going to read it and do a review. So that's the idea here. I don't know why I had to explicitly state that. I will read the book and do a review on it. Toodles!